Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. I like to tell parents at my workshops that when they're parenting, they're on stage. That means that their children are listening to their every word and watching their every move. Because children learn by watching the models parents present for their children, they're more powerful than they realize. My next guest has some advice for parents when it comes to modeling. Tam Veilleux is a transformational speaker who engages audiences and clients with wit, wisdom, science, and spirituality. She's the author of the book Creating Change, Keys to Everyday Alchemy, and the children's book Molly Kite's Big Dream. Her goal is to engage audiences in creating personal and professional change by monitoring their mindset, thereby managing their own miracles. Welcome to the show, Tam.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So the law of attraction, you know, I'm surprised a lot of people are not familiar with it. I go to an event and I'll say, are you familiar with law of attraction? They go, law of who? And so I think a lot of people would learn so much about living a more quality life if they knew about the law of attraction. But that's not what the show is about. Law of attraction is not just for adults. It's for children as well. And that comes out in your book, Molly Kite's book,
yes,
right?
Molly Kite's Big Dream, exactly.
Big Dream.
Yes, the law of attraction, you're right. It's not just for adults, and it's certainly not just for kids. It's for everybody, every age. It doesn't matter. And it's also, you know, I don't know about you, Bill, but when I interact with people about the law of attraction, they go, oh, I saw the movie. I think I know what it means. I have to think good thoughts all the time. Well, the law of attraction is about good thoughts and bad thoughts and getting exactly what you put out there. Energy goes where attention flows. That's
Right.
the law of attraction.
So let's see. You're telling me that children are like clay. Talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And let's say this again. It's not just kids, it's adults too. We're all just clay. You know that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Yeah, that's not true. We're all moldable. Our brains are changing all the time. And every minute, our brain is changing and repatterning. And what we currently have in our brain, our belief systems, are simply old patterns, old habits, old behaviors that were modeled probably by our parents.
I used to lecture in the prisons to incarcerated fathers. And one of the things I used to tell them is that your little boys are going to learn how to grow up and treat little girls simply by how he's watching you treat his mother.
Right.
And on the flip side, your little girls are going to learn how to grow up and allow themselves to be treated by how they're watching you treat his mother and allowing them to be
Right.
treated by others. And so this is so important. So did your parents model for you?
You know, I had very young parents, and my mother always said, oh, I did the best I could with what I had at the time, but they really were good models. They had open discussions with us about business. My parents were entrepreneurs. We talked about business and how it was affecting their home life, how it was affecting the business. My parents were goal setters, and they shared their goals with me. My mom, I remember her list, and she'd have a pen, and I just got that one, Tam, and she'd check it off her list, and it was, I didn't know it at the time, but she was modeling how to be a good, productive, goal-getting adult. It rubbed off. It was wonderful. My parents were very good.
A lot of parents who did not have good role models, and I'm one. My parents, while I forgive them totally for what happened, they were part of the old world of kids should be seen and not heard kind of mentality. And with it came very severe discipline. But I've forgiven them. They just were repeating the model. But I was a firm believer, and I don't know how, and I feel thankful, I wasn't willing to repeat this model. And so I talk to parents, you know, just because you had a bad model is no excuse for you to repeat it.
Right.
We all have the capability to change. And so the other side, if we did not have a good model, we need to seek out the help
Right.
to heal us inside so we can create new models. And sometimes I talk to groups and I said I had to become a father I'd never seen. I had to become a parent because I was committed to not doing what my father did, but I didn't know what else to do. And that's what a lot of parents are doing. They're very frustrated because they don't know what to become
Right.
or how to change that model. So what do you think about that?
Every minute is a choice. You can stay stuck and do what mom and dad did, even though you know it wasn't correct, or you can make a change, and you can shift, and you can think about it differently. You can pattern interrupt, you know, stop where you're at, think, and start over. Every minute is a choice, and you can choose change whenever you're ready.
So you mentioned the Austin Powers Mini-Me.
Well, I mean, for those who don't know that movie, it's a little bit of a cheesy movie, but Mini-Me was the Dr. Evil's little evil twin, kind of like a child to him, and it's a perfect example of bad modeling. To Dr. Evil, you know, he would, you know, do his little thing like that, and you'd see Mini-Me doing the same thing, and, you know, and the modeling, it's a good example of bad modeling, and that's what happens within families. Parents, like you said, you know, they set a bad example, the kids pick it up, and the next thing you know, it's just a long circle of trouble.
I do parent coaching, and oftentimes I get parents who come to me and they say, my child screams no at me at the top of her lungs, and I say, no way. And they go, yes. And they say, can you help me? I said, absolutely. So a couple of clinical questions. First of all, how do you say no to them? And I love it when the mom goes, oh. Yeah. And they realize.
Light bulb.
Yeah, they're just repeating. And sometimes parents, I just had a client came to me a couple weeks ago for help with a 4-year-old who is out of control. The 4-year-old is standing on his head and standing on her head and underneath the chair and just chaotic. And then when I met the mother, she's like, okay, I have to tell you this, and this is going on, and it's the Mini-Me thing.
Right.
And so it's so hard. I have to break it to this mom.
Right.
She may have created this because, and I think what happens in our modeling, even though we cut the umbilical cord many years ago, there's still the connection.
Oh, sure.
That invisible umbilical cord.
Yes.
So if the mother's stressed out,
Yeah.
the child is going to be stressed out. So the secret today, I tell parents, is in you to become a more centered, balanced adult.
Right.
And you may have a more centered and balanced child, right?
The children are always watching, and you know, it's like a train wreck. Don't look, but you always look. And the kids are watching as the parents are in these behaviors, like you just said. And so, law of attraction, if you can pull yourself together and that child is watching you all the time because you're their favorite train wreck, you know, if you're modeling good behavior, you're going to get more of that from them.
So speaking beyond the pages of Molly Kite's
Sure.
Big Dream, what kind of modeling do you think she had to do that?
Molly Kite?
Yeah.
Molly Kite is very much involved with her grandmother. I believe in that theory that it takes a village to raise a child, and Nana Wacky is the next 2 generations over her. There's the parents, but Nana Wacky is that elder, and she's constantly feeding positive information to Molly about goal setting. Molly, this is my goal, and she shares it with Molly Kite, and then expresses to Molly the steps that she's taking. She posts her goals publicly so that Molly can share in that. It's a constant conversation about, you know, this is what I'm thinking and this is how I'm doing it.
You said you may have some ideas for parents.
Yeah, conversations. You know, I think there's nothing worse than seeing parents in a public setting and they're bad-mouthing their neighbor or they're bad-mouthing the teacher. You know, the conversations that you're having, your children are listening and they're learning how to bad-mouth their neighbor and they're learning how to bad-mouth their friends, and it's not positive. I would love to see parents be more careful in their conversations, particularly around children.
Well, I have one.
Okay.
Your mother-in-law calls for the 3rd time in one day, and your son answers it, and he says, Mom, Grandma's on the phone, and you go, tell her I'm not here. What's the modeling that's going on there?
Right.
And then the kids begin to lie and make things up, and then parents start getting angry, dragging them by their ear to professionals like me. That's my child. But when they created it, right?
Right.
So anyway, look, parents, parenting is one of the toughest jobs. There's no manual that comes with your child. Don't take this as slamming you. I was there. I was in your shoes. I did it as a parent. So it is a challenge. Just keep in mind what Tam has told you tonight. You know, just understand everything you say and do. They're watching. Thanks so much for being on the show, Tam.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out. How would you like to have a means of helping your school-age child or teen to discover their aspirations or identify underlying issues that might be affecting them at the moment? What if there was a way to find the key to unlocking their full potential? Well, one man has developed his passion around this means, and we'll learn more about what he's up to when we return after our short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.